What's up guys, my name is Justin and welcome to my first Pokemon Go PvP video. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and what I'm going to do with this channel is, do practice battles and kind of like most other Pokemon Go PvP YouTubers. However, I want to kind of do more focused practices, meaning I want to test out a specific strategy and not just upload practice battles, because for me, I don't know, I have trouble retaining information. I need something more structured. So if you're more like, if you kind of are like that, hopefully this channel will be, you'll like it, and you'll like the way the videos are structured. And so when I practice for cups, I do like to practice strategies. I like to practice a specific team of 6 and just practice with it and see if it's good, and if it's not, I'll swap out something, put something in. But if I can test out a specific strategy, that's even better. And that's why I wanted to make these videos, to kind of help you guys with your cups and all that stuff. So if you like this video at any point in time, please don't forget to hit that like button, and let's just get into it. So my team of 6, I'm running Claydol, Drifblim, Steelix, and then the triple fighters, Medicham, Poliwrath, and Lucario. The reason I love this team of 6 is because I like any Pokemon that can get a buff when you do a charge move, and I believe Earth Power can give you a buff, Ominous Wind can give you a buff, and then all the power-up punches can give you a buff. So it's a very strong team in terms of, being able to, if you get lucky and get those buffs with Claydol and Drifblim, it could really swing the match in your favor. And so let's just see what happens. So the strategy I'm going to do is, by running a triple fighter, I'm going to do that lineup at the end. Because you have to play 3 matches now in the new Silph rules, it's very, very important that you win all 3 matches. It's not good enough anymore. Well, it is, but not as much to just win 2 matches. You want to try to win as many matches as possible. So with a triple fighter lineup, if you throw it in at the end, your opponent might not see it coming, which can really give you an easy victory. So that's my theory so far, and I've got 2 matches. I'm going against MasterRed and JimmaBanks. I will link to JimmaBanks' YouTube channel in the description. Shout out to you guys for helping me practice, and let's just see how it goes. So first match, I'm running Drifblim as my lead, and then Medicham and Claydol for kind of general coverage. So that's what I would suggest you guys do for the first 2 lineups. Let's see what happens. We got a really good lead. Bronzong is weak to Ghost, so definitely he's gonna want to swap out. He puts in Poliwrath, which is a good safe switch in, I think. So I'm just running Ominous Wind. I'm trying to get a buff. At this point in time, I didn't know too much about this matchup, so I just I did realize that it does have Ice Punch though, so I did shield it because I knew I was weak to that, and so I want to keep Drifblim alive because it is such a strong ghost attacker. And so here you see me doing some more, I don't know, I was trying to swap at this point. And then, okay, now we got Medicham. I'm more comfortable with this lineup because he's neutral to ice, he's resistant to fighting. So yeah, we're just gonna fight this one out and try to get up as many power punches as we can to just strengthen that Medicham for whatever comes in next after Poliwrath. So here I throw in another power-up punch, just trying to buff him up as much as possible. Medicham is a very formidable opponent if you can get those power-ups. Now, here's a really good counter to Medicham, Marowak, because Marowak is, I believe, it's double resistant to fighting, and it's also regular resistant to ice. And so really, there's not much damage you can do against a Marowak. With Medicham, you just kind of have to take that loss. But then you can swap in something better. So you see me here swapping in Drifblim. Now this is a very, very interesting matchup, and I want you guys to pay close attention to this, because on the one hand, you got Bone Club that takes like 3 or 4 quick moves to charge, but does like almost no damage to you. So if you can get lucky, you see I fell for the bait there, but that first one I didn't, and it does almost no damage to you. It's very, very low damage. However, its other move, Shadow Ball, can pretty much knock you out. So you got to be very, very careful with Marowak. It can create a stressful situation if you don't shield and get knocked out, but if you get lucky and don't fall for the bait, it can put you in a very, very good spot. And you can try to count the moves if you like. If you think he's doing a second move really close together, there's a good chance it's Bone Club, and you can take the risk and not shield it. Okay, I'm in with Claydol now. This is a really good matchup for me because Bronzong is weak to ground, and so I'm running Earth Power. I have to get a second move for this one eventually, but I'm just testing it out. So I run Earth Power, and we take Game 1. So going into Game 2, we are running Medicham as the lead now. Same lineup, just a different lead. So we're going to see what happens with this. Hopefully we can catch a good lead here and see what happens. So he's got Medicham Steelix. This is a perfect scenario for us. He's most likely going to swap immediately because there's not much you can do. Even Crunch is actually neutral to Medicham, so not much you can do there. Even Earthquake, which does a lot of damage in general, will not knock you out. So definitely want to swap out if you're in that scenario. But if you are the one with Medicham, nice. So okay, we swap. We go into Drifblim now. To hopefully knock out this Slowbro. And Slowbro has Ice Beam, so you gotta watch out for the ice when you're running Drifblim. You gotta watch out for those ice attacks. And let's just see what happens here. I run the Ominous Wind. He doesn't shield, so I knocks him out because he does weak to Ghost. And so that is awesome. He brings in Steelix, which is a good counter to play against Drifblim. However, I'm just spamming charge moves, hopefully to get that buff, which will keep me in longer, which means I could spam more charge moves. At one point, you might want to run a Shadow Ball just to see if you can hit it with some damage, but yeah, Crunch is going to knock me out, but I bring back in Medicham. And so now he's not in a good situation. We have a little bit of lag there, so I'm getting my power-up punches in. In terms of trying to farm this, you got to be careful because if you are like at half health and he hits you with an Earthquake, it can knock you out. So just try to get the power-up punches in. Just strengthen. That's your main focus, is strengthening that Medicham. Don't worry about trying to farm it too much. Unless it just runs an attack on you, like it just does a crunch or something, and is low on energy, then you can farm a little bit. So just be careful with that. And now we have Haunter against Claydol. Now Haunter does super effective damage, however, Psychic does super effective damage. So Claydol, you know, can hold its own against a Haunter, which is why I like Claydol so much. It's effective against a lot of stuff in this meta. So I like Claydol personally. And yeah, we take game 2. Now, game 3, we are running the triple fighting lineup. So let's see how we do with this lineup. Alright, we run a mirror match, Medicham versus Medicham. And I'm going to decide to just kind of play it out, just because I know my IVs are good. And so I'm just going to do a power-up punch. It looks like I got charge move priority there. And then I think I decide I'm going to switch it out just to kind of save it in case it has something else that's a better matchup for me. So you'll see he does his move, and then I start to get my switch tray up here. I try to swap out, and then once I do, I realize I switched into the wrong one because Lucario is weak to fighting. And so that wasn't really... But for some reason he ran Ice Punch. I don't know why he did that. But anyways, Lucario can still do some damage. Again, Shadow Ball can do really good damage to Medicham. So, you know, it's not the worst fighter to swap in. Okay, so anyways, I lose. I go with Poliwrath. Now, Poliwrath, you know, not going to do much damage with the fighting. However, the water is neutral damage. And so if you can get a powered up Poliwrath and start throwing bubbles at it, you can take a lot of its health away. And ice, it's neutral to ice, so you can do damage that way as well. So, you know, it might not be a matchup you're going to win, but you can definitely do a lot of damage to Haunter, especially if you're powered up. So I'm shielding it here because I want to keep him alive. I got another power up coming up, so I'll do damage there, and then a bubble. It should, yeah, we should take him out. So there we go. Now he's got Medicham. He's going to take me out, but he's pretty weak, so we should be okay here. And I have a power-up punch already charged up from the beginning. So I decided to use Ice Punch because I know it does a little bit more damage. And then we take it. No, I'm sorry. We have one more opponent. But we're effective against it, so we should be good here. So I'm going to run a power-up punch again. See if we can knock him out. Well, obviously he has a lot of health, so he's not going to get knocked out. Here's where I get a little scared because I thought Crunch was super effective at the time, but it's not, so it leaves me with just a sliver of health, and I'm able to get... I think I did an under tap there, I might have. I got really lucky there. Did my power punch, and we take all 3 matches. So that was phenomenal. I think I could have played that better had I swapped in Poliwrath instead of Lucario into the Medicham, so that's one thing I would have done different. But it's nice to know that even if you make a little mistake, you could still pull out the W, so that is awesome. Alright, next opponent, JimmaBanks. Shout out to him again, I'll link to his channel in description. So let's run the same lineup we did before and see how we do. Alright, we got Drifblim versus Bastide. This is not a great matchup for us, so I decide to charge up a little bit, and then I'm going to swap out. I swap into Claydol, which he swaps in, you know, he swaps in Poliwrath, and I believe I don't shield here just because I probably should have shielded that one. But I run, you know, I hit him with Earth Power. Let's see if he shields it or not. He does. Oh, he does not shield it, so that actually did quite a bit of damage. Oh, and I forgot, Poliwrath is weak to Psychic, so even though he got the switch advantage there, I was holding my own with that Psychic Confusion, which does a lot of damage. So that was awesome. Now we're going against Cresselia, which I don't think is the best matchup for Claydol, but it's not horrible. But we are just going to let him go. Oh, you know what? I shielded for some reason. Why did I do that? Oh, because I had an Earth Power already powered up. So I didn't want to waste that energy. I'm not sure if that was the best move to do, but it's okay because now we got Drifblim in. And so sometimes what I like to do is if you get switch locked, and then one of the advantages of losing right away is you have more time on the clock to put in a good Pokemon, and they're not going to be able to swap in again. So, you know, it's kind of like those sack swaps that people do where they sacrifice something to get their better counter back in. So it's not the end of the world if that happens. And so here we lose our Drifblim to Bastide, but we got 2 counters to Bastide, so really take your pick here. I decided to go with Medicham. There's really nothing much you can do here. Flamethrower does neutral damage, but I decided to shield anyway just to kind of keep him powered up and healthy. So we do a power-up punch here. He kind of sees that, yeah, actually he's out of shields, so there's nothing he can do there. Now I have a Cresselia, which is going to be resistant to fighting, so I'm going to use an Ice Punch, I believe. So we'll see what happens here. Aurora Beam didn't do very much. Oh, so I Power Up Punch to get him a little bit more powered up. I think I can get another charge move off, so I'm wanting to power it up. And then I should be okay here. Let's see what happens. He's going to probably go Aurora Beam again. And there you go. I was not dead, so I figured I could do any charge move at this point. I had Power Up Punch ready to go. And there's a little bit of lag here. But it's not really going to affect anything. And we take him out. So, game 1, we take the win, so that's awesome. Let's go to round 2. And, okay, we're running the same lineup again as last time, but we're switching Medicham in as our lead. Going to try to catch him off guard, but we're going to keep that same lineup. And let's see how it happens. Perfect. Definitely amazing lead here. He's going to want to swap out immediately. He puts in Poliwrath, and here I figure I'm just going to keep him in because my other team members here are not going to do really good against Poliwrath. So except for Claydol, but I just figured, you know what, Claydol's good against Bastide too. So there's really I'm in a pretty good spot here. So I swap him out. I decide to eventually swap him out. Now we got the confusion going. Poliwrath, there's really nothing he can do here. And that's why I like this lineup, because they kind of provide coverage for each other. So Drifblim, Claydol, and then a fighter. I really, really like that lineup of 3. You can win a lot of matches that way with that one. So there you go, Earth Power. Earthquake would have probably knocked him out, but I don't have Earthquake yet, so I'm just practicing right now. But I am going to spend the Stardust and get that second move. However, one of the advantages of being in a good situation like this is you can, sometimes you don't want to kill them because you want to farm a little bit more. And so sometimes you might want to go with Earth Power. So here I tried to do that, but I would have knocked him out anyways. So I was just kind of messing around at this point. So here, let's see, I tried to swap out. It didn't really work. And let's see what I decided to do here. I decided to shield. And then I'm going to just take him down with Confusions. Because I feel like I can farm up, and I knew I could take him down with Confusions. And so I just wanted to throw some charge moves at the next person. And then I swap out here, and you might ask yourself, why did you do that? Why didn't you just let it go down? Because if you're almost dead, you know, just staying in, all you're going to do is let them farm you. And so I like to swap out immediately so they don't have that opportunity to get that extra energy with those quick moves. And so, plus you can save it in the back for a sacrificial shield if you do need it in the future. So for those 2 reasons, I like to swap out immediately. I don't want to just let it sit there and just take the damage, because you're just giving them energy at that point, and that's just making it better for them. So I swap in, I get Medicham in here, and Cresselia is so weak that it's not going to be able to take me out. And we win that second game. So awesome. That turned out amazing. And now, here we go. Final match. We're going to run the triple fighter lineup. And I led with Medicham last time, so I'm going to lead a little bit differently. I'm going to put Poliwrath in first. And Most likely, our opponent will not be expecting this, so let's see how it turns out for us. Alright, we got Poliwrath versus Magneton. Now, Magneton is double weak to ground, and that's also weak to fire and fighting, and so he's not going to be in good shape anyways against either of our team lineup because we have triple fighters. So Magneton is not going to do very much damage. And then we got Cresselia. Now Cresselia is weak to Shadow Ball, so if we can pull one of those off, that'd be amazing. And I think we did actually. I wasn't paying attention, but we did hit it with a Shadow Ball. And so at this point, I don't need Lucario anymore. That's why I like Lucario, because even though it's a fighter, it can do super effective damage against Psychics. And now we got Poliwrath, which is going to just bubble him down here. And we're already sitting pretty. We have 2 shields versus his 1 shield. Magneton, I think he might be realizing at this point that he's not going to do well, so he decides to not shield. I think at this point he realizes he lost the game, and so Bastide, again, another Pokemon that we have counters for because we're running triple fighters, and he's like, yep, good game. There's nothing I can do here. Powered up Bubbles, I'm sorry. Powered up water attacks with Bubble is just going to melt this guy, and he decides to just let it go. So we won all 6 matches. So that was probably the best possible outcome we could have asked for. Well, it was, obviously, because we won all 6 matches. And so right now, the strategy is looking like it's pretty strong. I'm going to keep practicing with it, and I will upload some more videos on it just to see how many more matches we can win. And hopefully, if you guys have this exact team, test it out for yourselves and see how well you do. And please comment below if you're seeing success with this, or if I made any mistakes like talking in this video. If there's any corrections, please let me know in the comments, and just let me know how you're doing with it. If you see any big holes in this strategy, please let me know in the comments, and I'll pin a lot of the comments, and I'll put a list of the good points, and I'll pin it so everyone can see it. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, my name is Justin, and we will see you in the next one.